said, I'm tired of you doing me wrong. Said I'm going up the country, baby, do you wanna go? Said I'm going up the country, baby, do you wanna go? I'm gonna go someplace I've never been before. God, I miss that band. Canned Heat, man. Canned Heat. So I said, baby, baby, it's weak, you guys. Baby, where you go? I don't know, fool. My ass is gone. This ain't no temporary, typical, cheerful goodbye. This ain't no breaking up, waking up and making up one more time. This is gone, 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 gone. Gone like a freight train, gone like yesterday, gone like a soldier in the Civil War, gone like a 59 Cadillac, like all the good things that ain't ever coming back. She's gone. This ain't no given time, I'm hurting, but maybe we can work it out. Won't be no champagne, red rose, romance, second chance. This is gone, 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 gone. Gone like a freight train, gone like yesterday, gone like a soldier in a Civil War, gone like a 59 Cadillac, like all the good things ain't ever coming back. She's gone, 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 gone. Come on. What do you got, Steve? What you got over there? This is gone, 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 gone. Gone like a freight train. Gone like yesterday. Gone like a soldier in the Civil War. Can I get a bang bang? This is gone, gone, gone. Sing a song, come on. Gone, gone like a freight train. Gone like a soldier in the Civil War. Yeah, like all the good things ain't ever coming back. She's gone. Oh, she's gone. Gone, gone, done me wrong. Never coming back. My baby's gone. Lonely at home, sitting all alone. She packed her bags, and now she's gone. That song's called Gone. Thank you.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Great American Podcast. Jeff and Steve's Off the Cuff. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Steven? What's going on, Jeffrey? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Great
I
Here
haven't
we
stuff,
go.
seen
man.
that
Great
in a
stuff.
long time, man. That's wow.
Good to
Where's
see you,
the
brother. Yeah, so we're
archive? That's you archive.
you like that?
You
We do.
archive,
So
man.
you know, and I'm sure you know with Scotty and everything. You were talking a little bit before we started that you know you and Scotty how you guys met, and we dig. That's what Anons do, right? We dig. So
Yeah.
if we want to find stuff, we can find stuff. That's
A
just the way
great
it is.
little piece of trivia before you go on. In that video, you see the guy next to me. There's another guy next to him, a guy by the name of Stephen Wilson Jr., who's a new artist out right now, who is just unbelievable. You know what I mean? He's putting out some great music and some great messages out there. And the guy that was sitting next to me there, Davis Nash, is the guy that I wrote "Stick That in Your Country" song with for Eric Church back in 2015.
Okay.
That's
Oh
an
yeah.
old video you dug up there.
Yeah. So it was Nashville
Great.
Songwriters 2018 is what that one was.
Is that what it
So,
was? Okay.
Yep, that's what that one was
God,
from. But you were jamming, man. That was I was listening to that today. I'm like, yeah, this is what we're starting out with today. You know, it's gonna be so you know, here's the thing. We're both August babies. So you just celebrated a birthday on Sunday. So happy birthday, brother.
Thank you.
I know you saw the video. So we actually dedicated the 27th to your birthday.
Did
So
you
if you go
really?
back, yeah, so if you go back and watch our last Sunday's episode, is that the one that got bombed on YouTube?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we got medical misinformation bombed on YouTube because of that episode. So
But saying that the sky is bright orange is not misinformation
Yeah.
according to YouTube, because that's all we talked about is how the sky is orange. The sky is orange, but that's okay. That it's misinformation, but not according to YouTube. It's not. Oh, by the way, Todd says crazy. He wrote songs that I used to play on country radio. Todd and Jeffrey used to be in radio. So
yeah, so I don't know if you've seen any of Red Pill Mills videos. He puts out meme videos and he kills it too. You know, he's good with Scotty and all of them. So Red Pill Mill, he came on a couple times on the show. But that's him.
Oh, I lost it. There we go.
Oh, you're good. So yeah, that's Todd Anon. That's Red Pill Mill. So he's a
Wow.
yeah, he makes pretty good videos. And I don't know if you know who Dark Knight is. Dark Knight knows Scotty as well.
Yeah.
So I think he was here on Sunday. But anyways, so welcome, man. Thanks for coming here
Well,
again.
thanks. You know, and like I said, I'm kind of a byproduct at True Social of Scotty because at a time, you know, I've been writing songs about the country and what I feel basically my whole career, but there was a time when I was writing them and people were kind of looking at them and looking the other way and kind of like I was, the 500-pound elephant in the room, the color purple or whatever, and sitting there and I was telling people, man, we gotta start, taking note about what's going on in our world right now. This is back, almost 8-9 years ago, just writing, songs and it's just interesting to see how it's just taken so long for you know what I mean, like just for the whole thing to kind of catch up and people starting to realize now that, oh my God, what's going on with our country. And it's just great to see people waking up. But Scotty's the guy that I got turned on to his videos through my engineer. And he goes, have you seen this Scotty Martin guy? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He showed me the video and it was like that. I was like a hallelujah moment when I was like, oh my God, there's somebody out there that's putting to video everything I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, amazing.
And I told Scotty this when I met him. I said, it completely changed my way of thinking about what I was doing with my music and how I was approaching what I was, how I was going to get it out there. And I told Scotty when we finally met, I told him, I said, man, we have got to start a conservative Grammy show. You know what I mean? At somewhere down the road, we got to get enough conservative, Christian, faith-based, country-based, flag-based music, American music. We got to have a show that is like the Grammys, but it's for that. And the award is going to be the Scotty. You get a Scotty.
Oh, I love it.
You know what I mean? You get a Scotty because he's the guy that was playing everybody's new songs that nobody would play on the radio.
Yep.
And in my world, when radio starts
airtime
back on you and the country and the country music industry turns their back on you for the very themes that made them every dollar they ever got, it's kind of weird, so
yep.
I just wanted to bring that up, that Scotty became this almost lighthouse for me of like, oh my God, I can start saying stuff and I'm just gonna go to True Social. And I'd never been on a social media before. I had, my daughter runs my music company and she was doing all my social medias. I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. And so now I wanted to get involved and I wanted to be a part of it because I saw a way for me to get my music to people that wanted to hear it. Because, until like the Aaron Lewis thing broke and all that stuff.
That's awesome. Am I the only one? Such a fantastic song.
You couldn't get anybody. If you brought in a song to a radio station and it had American themes in it, they go, "Oh man, we're not playing that.
We're good. We're out on this."
Yeah,
it's because they're.
Like, what are you kidding me?
Well, Sinclair Broadcasting owns a majority of the radio stations, right?
Yeah,
so if you understand what Sinclair Broadcasting is, they're out of Maryland. Yep. So I'm familiar with some of the partial owners of that company because I used to work for them. I will not say any names so that way I don't get, that was crazy. Yeah. So there was a short time period of, what was it, 4 years, John? I lived in the People's Republic of Maryland. Craziest thing ever was trying to buy a Glock. I got a Gen 4 Glock that I was trying to buy. And it was a 17. And it took me almost a month to get the thing because I had to go and get some mental background check, and I had to get a license to purchase a firearm that was non-regulated. So any type of lowers on ARs and anyways. Yeah, Maryland was crazy.
Real quick, Todd wants to know, Jeffrey, if you know a Jackson Taylor.
What's the last name?
Jackson Taylor.
Oh my gosh. Gotcha. What would be my reason for knowing? Musician, writer?
We have like a 15-second lag, so Todd won't hear it just yet. So when he does, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But yeah, Todd, he wants to know
so
who
many
Jackson
people.
Taylor
Sometimes I can't line up. I have to remember where the show was, and then sometimes I get back to.
So I wanted to talk a little bit when you came on because you came back from an epic trip.
Yeah.
I went through your video a couple of times that you put out. Guys, follow Jeffrey on Rumble at Sir Yes Sir. If you guys aren't, please do go follow him. He puts out a great song of the days. Pretty incredible music there. So go follow him there. I definitely follow him on True Social as well. But this trip that you went on, tell me about it, man. I love the video.
I got this crazy phone call from Kash Patel, who my first meeting with, I talked to him a couple times, but my first meeting with him was at John Rich's. John Rich had a #1 party for a song we wrote called Progress.
Yeah,
had a bunch of people come out. You know, John's got a gigantic nightclub in his house. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. And so he had a full band in there, and he brought Senator Marsha Blackburn was there. He had everybody there, including Scotty. Scotty was there, and he got an award. And Devin Nunez and all these guys showed up. So I met Kash. And I met this other guy who I'm not going to tell you who this guy is, but I met this other guy. And it was just kind of a, just guy that was with Kash. I just met him and
just some guy with him,
And it was just a meeting, and we were just hanging out, enjoying the music and hanging out with Aaron Lewis. And I got to go up and sing with Aaron our song together. And it was a really fun night, and then months later, I get a call from Kash, and he goes, "Hey, man." He said, "Do you know anybody that would fly to Turkmenistan?" I said, "Where?"
Right.
He said, "Turkmenistan. It's out near Afghanistan and Iran." I said, "Oh, yeah, there are plenty of people."
Easy flight.
Joking and
short
said,
flight.
He said they were opening a new embassy, and they were trying to do a cultural exchange program with the people there, and most of the people there are Soviet. It's former Soviet Union territory, and I just really, and there's going to be some Marines there, and it's going to be like a military thing too. But you're going to be playing for the public or the military and the embassy, all the people from the embassy, and so basically he was trying to get me to find somebody to go do it because he knew that nobody would go do it. And I said, well, maybe I can, let me just think about it for a couple of days. And then I just started thinking about it and said, man, I should go do this. I should just go and do it. And, I never served in the military, so I figured this might be a cool way for me to serve my country a little bit, do some military stuff and ambassador cultural exchange stuff. So I called Kash back. I said, hey, I might be able to do this. It was on the 4th of July, and I was already booked. I said, but I've already got a show booked, but I would love to do this. He goes, Steele, if you get out of your gig and you do this, I'll go with you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Geez, twist your arm a little more, right?
He goes, if you get out of your gig, I will do it. I will be with you. I will be your publicist. And I said, well, what is this deal? And he didn't really tell me much about it. And so I got out of my gig, and he went with me. And I took my wife and a couple of friends of mine, which probably was a mistake because it was very third world. It was very different. Yeah. And I can't really explain to you all of what I saw there. Maybe another time, but
it's definitely different. So I lived in Turkey for 3 years. So Middle Eastern culture. Yeah, so I lived out near the Mediterranean, almost near Syria. So it was interesting things go on for sure.
Were you on the tarmac like Hillary was?
Well, here's the thing, man. We didn't know if we were going to get out of there. It was kind of, remember that movie Midnight Express back in the day?
Oh yeah.
We didn't know if we were going to get out of there. We had to pay our way out of there. And we had to keep paying money to get our bags out.
That's crazy.
And I said, I swear to God, they're going to find something in our bags and we're not going to be able to go anywhere.
We're done.
But check this out. So we get there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of frickin' nowhere. Desert between Afghanistan and Iran. It's literally 12 miles from Iran border. And the city's called Ashgabat. And we get off the plane. It looks like Las Vegas as we're coming in for a landing, 3:30 in the morning.
Gorgeous buildings.
It looks like Las Vegas. it's all white and lit up, and we land, and as we're looking around, there's nobody there, and it's like a city. It's a city about the size of Nashville, brand new. Everything's brand new, made out of marble and gold, and nobody's there. There's nobody in the city. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that there.
I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna show this for y'all.
Yeah.
If you guys
There you
can
go.
see that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Is that me flying in?
That's Jeffrey flying in, right there.
So that's what it looks
Wow.
like. Yeah. There we go. And there's some of the eye candy.
Look at that. Gorgeous.
Not a soul.
That was my hotel.
Holy shit!
And there was nobody in that hotel but me. And
Wow.
that palace you're looking at is where I played the concert for the folks, for all the people.
Almost like North Korea-ish, like nobody's
Yes.
anywhere, but you have all this money going somewhere. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Look at that. Nobody in that place right there.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's one of the old Russian cemeteries from the old Soviet Union. There's me and Cash we're at the cemetery. That was the only Christian church there in the whole country.
That dog.
And that's the venue, yeah, where I played. But you can
Yeah,
see
so-
all even the street lights are made out of gold and marble.
Wow.
Olympic Stadium. It was
Fascinating. I bet it was
so
like
fascinating. And when we played the embassy show for the 4th of July. Every embassy in the world was there, and basically what's happening is they're sitting on the 4th largest gas reserve in the world.
interesting.
So
Yeah. So they got all kinds of money.
Worried about running out of
Right,
fuel.
yeah.
We're not running out of fuel anytime.
Oh, it's funny that you said that because I have a video of Rockefeller, and it kind of ties into what you just said. Also, Todd said it's Jackson Taylor in the Sinners. He's out of Texas.
Out of Texas. Oh,
Jackson Taylor and the Sinners.
Out of Texas, he said.
out of Austin or out of Dallas? I know. You got to let me sit on it for a while.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And Todd said he's putting out a new video tomorrow, so
that's
we'll
great.
all stay tuned for that.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, he's been working. He put another one out today. Scotty's last couple of ones have been pretty epic for sure. We're getting to that point with all of the indictments. The final one, number 4. What did you think of that, Jeffrey?
Well,
Like,
I've had like you guys. I'm just like the most grateful guy. I have this really crazy, weird sort of blessed, charmed sort of life where I'm like, for 40 years I've been like behind the scenes of people's careers, creating music
That's
in the
awesome.
studio as a producer and a writer, and of course I perform and do my own stuff. But being behind the scenes, I get pulled in. That's why I got this thing with Cash. I get pulled into all these things that other people won't do. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I get pulled into these random situations throughout the course of my life. And so a couple of weeks ago, I get a call from John Rich in the morning. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I said, "I'm supposed to be writing. I got a thing over at my studio." He goes, "Hey, you want to meet Trump today?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So, and by the way, Cash gives me this pin, American flag. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh yeah.
American flag. It's got the presidential seal on it.
Presidential seal
On the
on it.
back, it's engraved by Donald and Melania. Now, this was a gift to me for being the cultural ambassador of Turkmenistan.
That's
from
so cool.
Cash. And he goes, when people see you wear this pin, they're going to say, "Where the hell did you get that pin?"
That's so cool. So
when I met 45,
that's
I had the pin on, man.
that's part of the war, right? I mean, that's so what we do here is we try to wake people up, and the big thing is it's a cultural war, and I've been like kind of on this path the last couple of weeks about the cultural war. We have Oliver Anthony. I know you've heard his song.
Of course.
He's taken off like just overnight, right?
Yeah.
Almost as if he came out of nowhere. But I don't know, it's crazy. But
I
there's
wanted to tell you. Hey, I wanted to tell you. Sorry to interrupt, but when I met 45, I gotta tell you guys, man. I don't know if he blew my mind.
I believe it.
He You know what I said to you? You know what my question was? I figured I'm going to try to ask him something because it was a bunch of people coming through.
Yep.
You know? And by the way, 250 people. He talked to every person, took a picture with every person. And I know everybody, you know, is supposed to do that when they go out and do events like that. But he literally spoke and talked and pictured with everybody there, made them feel like it was their very own party. That's the kind of guy this
Genuine.
guy is all the time, 24/7. But I asked him, I said, man, why are you doing this, sir? And he just looked down at me and he goes, who the hell else is going to do it? Right? And then, which was the greatest answer, you know, and then, yeah.
I love it.
And then when he was speaking to this round table, it was cool to see him, you know, off the camera, and he's talking to all these people. And you know, he's a New Yorker, man. He's just cussing like a sailor, you know. But he said he knew when he fired Comey, the shit was going to hit the fan, is what he said. He knew it. He had no idea how bad it was going to be for him, but he knew that it was going to just shatter things up there. Yeah. And it's been shattered ever since. And you see him up there on a microphone, and he's got all these indictments against him, and he's literally just smiling, and he's letting everybody know that it's nothing but corruption, BS. Yep. Here's the deal, and it's kind of placed to Oliver Anthony. When Oliver Anthony first came out, what did the media do? They immediately started bashing him the same way they bashed Trump in the early days. It's all the left can do when the truth is in their face. They have no answer for the truth except start bashing people over the head, because they have no response for anything that's real and factual. So they just start bashing people over the head. And what did they do? They started saying that, you know, oh my God, you know, Oliver Anthony's a, you know, 9/11 truther, and you know, he's a MAGA supporter, and he mainly started throwing fire barrels at the guy, you know. And I was like, this guy has struck a nerve. And it's not red or blue, it's America. He struck a nerve with everybody. And everybody that there's no middle class in this country anymore. They have ruined us. And that is the whole plan, is to ruin us. It's to slowly frog boil us, you know, just keep turning the heat up a little higher. And the thing I'm always saying is we have to remember that they're already 5 years down the road. And we're in a war and we're not even fighting back yet. You know what I mean? So to speak, like a lot of us are, obviously, but there's so many people that just aren't aware that it's already on and it's already moving down the road, and we have got to stand up. We got to get a little bit more Andrew Breitbart in us and stand up and just start saying it and stop it, or it's just going to steamroll us. And because they don't care what anybody here in this, like the four of us here, they don't care what we think is morally or ethically right, whether it's right or wrong. They don't care. They just want to win. They have an agenda and they want to win. And what you think is unimportant, and whether it hurts your feelings or is goes against anything that God has said or Jesus has said to us, they don't care. They just have to win this game. And that's what I hate seeing all these talk show, like everybody listens to talk show, and I know talk show radio is the biggest thing on radio, but they just keep arguing about the right and wrong of it. It's like, man, it doesn't matter. They don't care if it's right or wrong. They just are going to win.
Whatever their agenda is, they just want to win, no matter what it is, right, wrong, indifferent. It's and if you go back to the, you know, we went a couple episodes ago into the Communist Manifesto and communism and the start of that back, you know, not Marx, not Karl Marx, although he was known, pretty sure Illuminati. And anyways, that's a little rabbit hole to go down, if we could, but I'm talking about the Lenin and Trotsky days, you know. The 1918 Communist Manifesto. On if you go look at that and read it play by play, that's what they're doing, right? Make men into soft, weak feminists, right?
But what's scary about like people like Lenin and Marx and all that? There's still three people above them. Not three people, three levels of people above them. It's like, who are the overlords really? You know?
Well, we go back to Andrew Jackson's time period, and he was known to get rid of the second central bank in the United States, and he was a central bank killer. That's what they knew him as. Did you know that they
He's the
hated
one
him?
that started with the drain the swamp.
Yep,
Yeah.
they hated Andrew Jackson. But he got rid of the central bank, and we're a debt society. So
Yeah.
what they're teaching, not just us, but our children, which is the most important thing that we can do, is protect our babies, right? I have 3 kids. I homeschool all 3 of them.
Absolutely.
And I have a 16-year-old who'll be 17 soon, just turned 14, actually the day after my birthday. So he's an August baby too.
Oh, wow.
And that's 7-year-old, but it's they're our future. My 14-year-old today said, "Dad, people are too old in politics today. There needs to be some innovation." And I agree with that. But who have they been trained by, right? Who have they been who has discipled our children to be able to do that and take on that task of running the city, or even the smaller stuff, city councils and things like that, which is really the important part of this war, is to take over things locally. We're pretty big about local elections, the importance of school board elections, HOAs. We have to, right? Because that's the only way that you win the war is you put in the morals and ethics.
I feel like too, one thing I've been saying a lot is, and you guys may agree or disagree with me. Recently, I got my first chance. I spoke at an RNC event in Eastern Tennessee. It was for like 5 different counties. And, I'm conservative all my life, y'all. And I grew up in Hollywood, California. So trust me, that's no easy
tough.
task. But I grew up in the Reagan era. Reagan was governor of California when I was a kid, and I grew up in a different world out there. But to be able to speak at this convention was the first time I'd ever done anything like that, like without a guitar in my hand. And I made it really clear. There's a bunch of Republicans following me, getting up to speak. I made it very clear to the audience, who was very, Midwestern sort of audience, very simple crowd. You got to start looking at these local elections and these politicians.
Yeah.
Honest to God, y'all, I don't know what's going on up there anymore. I go to DC. I've been going there for years to speak on behalf of songwriters. I don't know who's red and blue anymore. We know there's a handful of guys that we know are great guys up there. A handful.
Well, it's a uniparty.
Yeah, but
it really is.
My point being is trying to tell people it's really important on the local level to get involved, because we don't know what we're getting anymore. We don't know if Democrats are just running as Republicans, for Christ's sake. We don't know.
I mean, look at.
But my point I was getting to was, like, I'm starting to tell people now, like, maybe we have to give up. Maybe if we want the American way of life, we're going to have to give it up for a while. We're going to have, you know what I'm saying by that? Like, we're going to have to, like, stop for a minute, because we are, and if this trip taught me anything, you guys, I was looking over my shoulder the whole time I was in Turkmenistan. I had no idea. I know I was being watched everywhere I went.
Mm-hmm.
There were cars following the cars I was in everywhere I went. And when I after that, I went to Israel, to Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Same thing. Everybody in Israel is looking over their shoulder. They're free, but
because there's cameras everywhere.
They're fighting for their daily existence.
Yep.
And they're looking. In that video, I have a picture of a bar mitzvah coming down the hill, and these kids are all celebrating. And then right next to the bar mitzvah, there's like 80 Israeli soldiers walking up the hill.
Yep, I saw
going
that.
I mean, that's their freedom. And if I brought home anything from that trip, it was like, oh my God, people just don't know. They just don't know how good we got it. And we're talking. And I asked one of my tour guides out there. I said, what's going on with the pride flags over here and all the stuff? And the guy goes,
That don't happen.
Because this is the Holy Land. He goes, we don't have time for that.
Yeah, that don't happen. The war is worse over there.
Yeah, we got our backs against the wall, and we're trying to be free.
Yeah,
and we don't have time for that. And I just went, wow. But that perspective you get of, like, when you have everything and you don't know anything else, you're just going to piss all over it. And that's what collectively a lot of the middle America, modern America, I should say, or left America, obviously, but But people in the middle that just don't pay attention to what's going on. They just don't pay attention. They don't want to know. They don't want to know if
Blinders.
anything's bad. But at some point, you got to go, hey, we have to shut this down somehow to get it back. You know, we have to stop these companies, and it's where we put our money, right? And that's why I think the music's so important. It's where when we start showing that we want songs with conservative values, or just you know, values about what we know in America. When we start showing those things, companies change their game plan because they want to make money. And if we say, and we've proved it with Bud Light and, you know, and Target and all these other things, and now we're starting to see it with the music. When the charts show up all country, it's saying something. It's It may not be the biggest deal
And it's
in the world.
all patriotic country too, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's saying something, man. It's saying that people want something different.
So we've
And
been silenced.
speaking of records, is that platinum or gold you have on the wall there?
That's a little platinum. That's Aaron.
Ah, look at that. Platinum
Am I the
artist
only
here,
one?
people.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's one of my.
I love the guitar too.
Now that's
Yeah.
that's my one of my most proud records I've ever been a part of.
One of the greatest songs ever written.
Thank you.
Am I the only one? So patriotic. I mean, it could be, you know, it could stand next to the Star Spangled Banner for sure. I mean, it's
Well, I have a lot of platinum in the house, and over the years I've had a lot of successes. But this song is not only because of what it was and what it meant, but because of how it was written. Knowing that Aaron, it wasn't about business. Aaron was just saying, man, I just want something I can sing to my fans every night about what this country's doing right now. And it was never about a business model. It was just about, I need something I can sing to my fans. And it was so organic. And I've never been more proud of anything in my life, and proud to be where I am right now. I mean, getting to sit with you guys and getting to be in a world now. Like I said, I don't, if I hadn't seen Scotty's films in the beginning, I just didn't know where I was going to go. You know, I was just caught into all the other crap like everybody else was. And then when you finally see that door open, you go, oh man,
what?
I'm not the only one.
Yep.
Now, real quick, Jeffrey, I got a question, because when we had Taylor French on, I asked him the same question. Seeming that you're on the other side of the business too, have you had people trying to sink their claws into you and get you to come to this side? Come to this side. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
The pop culture.
Well, like I said, you know, I've always kind of written what I've written. And people kind of know what I do. And I've kind of been known through the years as a guy who's more on the edge and innovative and stuff and takes chances and all that kind of stuff. But they kind of know what I do, you know? So what's crazy to me, Jeff, is when like I write a song in 2015, you know, called Stick That in Your Country Song. And it was about speaking up and saying stuff about our country, basically.
Right.
I love that song, by the way.
Thank you.
Especially the truth about Baltimore City is people don't actually see what Baltimore City looks like. It's either boarded up or run down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Democrats have run that city for 50 fucking years.
Yes, but people looked at me like I had three heads, Jeff. And then here's the thing. Here's when the Aaron Lewins, when Eric Church put the song out, it shot immediately to #1. And it was the beginning of COVID. Everybody was going crazy. I was getting all these texts from the industry like, well, dude, what's wrong with you? What are you so pissed off about?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not pissed. I wrote that song 7 years ago. I just found it, you know. Like, I've been saying this for years, and I just never seen you like so angry. Like you're saying all this, you know, sing about the man coming back. I said, I've been singing about that my whole career. I mean, every song Montgomery Gentry ever sang that I wrote.
Your boy Howdy days.
It was about, if you
what was the first song
or something to be proud of. Those are all the same kind of lyrics, just
Yep.
in a different time, you know. So I got a lot of that, Jeff. And here's the clincher to that. Now, Nashville, the big deal for a songwriter, when you do that magical thing and you write a #1 song, which is very hard to do, there's not very many slots to get a #1 song. You know what I mean? And there's thousands of people trying to get it. And they're really good.
Yeah.
And so when you get one, it's a huge deal in Nashville because Nashville is built on the backs of the songwriters, right? It's the whole premise of the city, Music City. So I get this #1 song, crickets. Nobody from the industry is going, Steele, we're going to have a party, blah, 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 right? And so I have like a publishing company over here. I develop all these young songwriters. One of my young songwriters has this big #1 song for Kenny Chesney recently. And our phone starts blowing up. Oh my God, we're so excited for your guy, Adam. He's got his first #1 song. We're going to throw the biggest freaking party for Adam. It's going to be amazing. Kenny's even going to be there. And I'm like, wait a minute.
What happened to mine?
Wait a minute. What about my song? How come we're not having a #1 party for Am I the Only One, or stick that in your country song?
Oh, just 81 million votes. Kiss my.
Yeah. And they kind of just went blank. And when I went to this party, I saw all the figureheads of the company, and I was like, dudes, like, I don't have to have a party, y'all, but it'd be nice to know that you'd recognize me for my work. It doesn't matter whether you like my work or not. Your job is to thank me for the work that I'm doing because you're making money off of me.
I provided for you.
Well, that's like,
Jeff, that's kind of what it looks like for me. You know?
yeah, right. No, I got you. But it's like I reference Dave Chappelle a lot because Dave Chappelle was a big proponent of calling these people. Won't call them out by name, but we all know who he's talking about. Just like when Ice Cube came out not too long ago, when he said, "I'm not part of the club," and then he's like,
destroyed.
"You know what club I'm talking about." But when he went on Oprah, Dave Chappelle basically said, "When you generate this kind of money, people have a vested interest in you." You know what I'm saying? It's like I wasn't a big Aaron Lewis fan, but I tell you what, it took 2020, it took a fake pandemic to show who's who, and people that I never really liked before, I love them now, but the veil has been lifted on the people who we used to like, and I referenced it the other day too, like when I said with Xi, just remember, the people who told you that Tom Hanks was the good guy is also the people telling you Xi and Putin are bad guys. Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron
You're absolutely right.
Aaron Lewis wrote the song basically of what they do. Hey, do this. You know, maybe you should lose a little weight.
Country Boy. He's talking about Country Boy. Great song too by Aaron Lewis.
Yeah, Country Boy, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
it's
you're right. I mean, you're right.
But it's like, you know, when I started really having my awakening, and I've said this before too, there's times where you look for stuff now. You look for messages and everything because now all the messages are out there. You know what to look for now. And I'll never forget, I was watching the Limp Bizkit video for My Way, and then Fred Durst does this. I'm like, okay. But then if you listen to the lyrics of the song, he says, "I will give up everything to be on my own again, free again." It's like, you think that's a breakup song. I think that's more of his breakup from the club. He'll give up everything to be on his own again, free again.
Bob Dylan talked about it too, you know. Bob Dylan talked about who gets them famous, you know. I mean, the connections, right? So we're normal Americans. That's what we are. Every day, I work 14 hours a day. John works nights, you know. Jeff works days 6 to 3. That's what we do.
Long into the night.
Yeah, long into the night. But
I have a question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Can I shoot one at you guys?
Absolutely. This is off the cuff, so we just talked.
Get your guys' opinions on this. Oliver obviously has taken over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oliver Anthony. There's a lot of people that I know that I talk to every day in the news business and stuff, and they're convinced it's a sham. And I said, well, you know,
but that's what they like to do when somebody gets.
What's that? What?
That's what they like to do when somebody is an overnight success.
Well, let me
out of
ask
nowhere.
you, but let me ask
Out of
you.
nowhere.
So in one of his videos, and this is the first thing that got me thinking, and I'm not questioning, I think it seems very organic to me, and it seems very real to me. But he made a very big statement, and you know, the whole thing about all these record companies throwing money in his face.
Yep.
And I know he was talking with John Rich for a while about, you know, recording songs and stuff, which I think is great. John's a great guy, a smart guy. You know, he's turning down all these millions of dollars, and I didn't do this to be famous. I wasn't trying to do this to get in the limelight. I wasn't trying to do this to garner attention to myself. And then the next thing you know, now he's going to be on Joe Rogan, and he's going to be doing all these things. And I'm just, and I always play devil's advocate because there's so many side games going on in this world right now.
The very
As
fact
you
he's
guys
saying
know,
with Jamie Johnson.
We're trying to get to the truth of everything. And I think this guy is organic and he's the real deal. But, you know, I'm around these jaded news guys who are like, they always look for a flaw in the story. And my one friend told me, he goes like, well, why would he be doing Joe Rogan if he didn't want to draw media attention? He's going to get like 14 million hits and sell tons of music.
Yeah. So
all of a sudden, how does that change? And you know what I mean? So there's these people asking these questions and just, they got me pondering. So I'm just curious if you guys had any thoughts on that, because this thing seems to be one of the greatest things that's happened in a while. And I hope it continues and it starts a movement of more music that lights people up. But just curious what you guys think.
So definitely hoping for the truth of, right, and it came together organically. I haven't done much digging into it, but in the very beginning, it did seem a little off because I'm on Twitter, and when I hopped onto Twitter and overnight in less than 70, I take a screenshot over less than 72 hours, he has over 1.5 million followers. That's an interesting thing. Did you go on his Rumble channel when he started it?
What's that?
So his Rumble channel when he started it. So you put videos out on Rumble, you get some views. You know, you get some videos that have over 11,000 and whatnot. Yeah. So when I dig, right, it's always about, and I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just saying I always keep an open mind to things, right?
Yeah.
You have to question things. But when you go to, I'm going to Rumble right now. He has 37.7 thousand followers right now on Rumble. Okay. Organic, yeah, but Scotty, who's been putting videos out for years, you know, he got bombed off of YouTube. I used to watch him back in the YouTube days, and you know,
right,
he put one of my 14-year-old made a meme of SpongeBob meme, and Scotty put it in one of his videos, and that was like it was epic. He was super excited about that. That was the first meme he ever made. It was it was pretty cool.
Let me tell you something, though. Sorry, Scotty, but I think he knows where I'm coming from when I say this. Scotty getting kicked off of YouTube is the greatest thing that happened to a lot of us, because if he didn't go to Rumble, I never would have found any of you guys.
Yep.
Any of you.
Exactly. Same here.
So check this out. So here's his 38.6 followers. You know,
my glasses on, see that.
Let's enlarge it. 181,000 views 17 days ago.
Thank you for enlarging that.
So you go there, and then you go. Oh, I wanted to share this, but that's a squirrel. I'm not going to go down that. I'm not going to go down that yet, but we'll go down that in a second. Did you see this today, Jeffrey?
No, because he's probably still frozen.
Did you see this today?
I just think of
Hold on. I'm sorry. I got to. We go. So it's off the cuff. So we just go down some rabbit holes. All right. So I'm going to go down this real quick.
You didn't share your audio. I got a video to back that one up. Hold on for 59 seconds after that.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
I don't think they
All right, I'm sorry, y'all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Benny.
Wow.
Do you see that? Like, what is going on with him?
Okay.
Steven, can I get my opinion?
Absolutely.
If I still defend that, yes, we are watching a movie. This is just to wake people up to say, these people, we need term limits in Senate and Congress. We really do.
That's hard to watch, man.
All right,
That's the third time he's done that.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to watch. It's we need
that shows the weakness of our government.
We need people, you remember the original people that signed the Constitution? What did they get for signing the Constitution?
Death.
They knew that they were probably going to die. That was what,
Death.
That was
Yeah.
what they got for.
Some of their houses got burned down.
Yeah, we need people that want to serve their country, more than take taxpayers' money and. I mean, for God's sakes, you guys, we got. Instagram has got porn all over it. And I made there was somebody that put up a comment. I had an account for like 5 minutes over there, like a side account because my daughter runs my professional thing, you know. So I just had a side account that I would, you know, read stuff and post stuff up. Somebody was making fun of Melania one day, so I posted up some pretty hardcore stuff with some pretty
On
hardcore
Instagram.
and I got kicked off like nobody's ever been kicked off. I got kicked off for like 3 months.
Oh, geez.
And just for saying and defending her honor. And because I was talking about Trump.
Yeah.
Yet they've got all kinds of pornographic stuff going on Instagram. If you scroll long enough on Instagram, you can find anything. And they're algorithming people to see what they gravitate towards, you know. So they'll slowly feed stuff.
And the longer you
It's
spend on
crazy.
something, that's what
And it's
TikTok does too. That's what they do to kids. YouTube Shorts, TikTok, all those. That's what it is. It's the algorithms. Depending on the length of time you watch a video, they know to bring more of those types of videos towards you. So that way you stay engaged.
So crazy. It's you know, and I never paid attention to it before, and I never had an account on Twitter. I never was on Facebook. Just like I said, my daughter had a professional account, you know, for my fan base and stuff like that. But I would never post. So when I first started to sniff around, I'm like, oh my God, what's going on over here? But guys like us, if we say something pro America, we're immediately
done.
blocked. And we get those things, but they can have any kind of picture. Oh, sorry, so I'm knocking my dang camera over.
I was gonna share.
But they can put anything up there, and I tell you, man, it's mind blowing to me. I feel the same way. Like it's a movie, and we're all watching. It's a movie that's been going on since they invented the TV. You know, they've been programming us, is what they call it. Yeah.
Here we go. Our YouTube strike.
There it is.
Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our medical misinformation policy. So I was thinking about this, Jeffrey, because this was episode 15, which was your birthday. It was Sunday. And we talked a lot about you being young, you know, a young 62-year-old. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe that was the medical misinformation, not the mask talk or the vaccine talk or none of that rhetoric.
Steven, you know what you should do? You should write to YouTube and say, when did you enact your medical misinformation policy? What year did you have a policy? Because before 2020, you would never get the show. I guarantee, even last night's Unhinged with Cammie and Jeff, I bet you, seeming that we talked about COVID, we got a COVID banner on that video probably. I guarantee it.
I haven't seen anything from that one yet.
Oh my God.
But you guys talked a lot of disinformation on that one. The whole video was about disinformation.
Yeah. Jeffrey. So that's what I said when Steven put that out there. I said, you know what? Me and Cammie, we're going to talk about how the sky is bright orange. We're going to keep referencing that and see if we get a misinformation strike from YouTube about it, and we never did. They pick and choose what they call misinformation. That's why we had the one video. Jeffrey, I don't remember if you saw the Congresswoman, Mrs. Mace. I don't know her first name, but when she had the former executive from Twitter banned CDC information from doctors, and she asked, when did you get your medical license or degree or something? I don't have it. She goes, yeah, exactly.
What do you think of that? These non-medical people telling us what we can do with our bodies.
Yeah.
But yet, so your song "Don't Kill the Baby," right? Did you saw that video that I made to back your song up, right? Yeah. So I got, anytime I post it on Twitter, I get a lot of trolls. I know you get a ton of trolls too. I pop onto your page every now and then on Truth, and I'm like, man, he was out bombing last night. These guys were going crazy.
I'm noticing like more and more and more. Like, it's funny when you kind of strike a nerve on a thread, here they come. They'll just come
Yep.
out of nowhere. You'll start seeing these trolls coming in and saying stuff, and or trying to divert your attention to something else, and boy, it's madness. It's just madness.
What's worse than the trolls? Because trolls do it on purpose. What's worse is when Steven, it was a couple of weeks ago. I think we were doing off the cuff when you played that one video of the girl going around counting how many American flags there were, and it's just like nothing triggers people on the left more than American flag. Jeffrey, I used to live out in Portland, and I was on the east side. The west side is where all the shit was going on. But it's like every once in a while, I would have to take the one bus home. And I always called it White Guilt Way because that's where I first saw all the Black Lives Matter stuff. This is before 2020. But I called it White Guilt Way for a reason because when I first got out there, before I really started paying attention, this was 2018, I started seeing all this BLM stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, these are all white people. It's like before I really learned what a liberal really was. But it's like to see an American flag in that stretch of neighborhood was few and far between. And once I woke up and it's like me and this one guy, we were out in the parking lot of the grocery store and he wore a Trump 2024 mask. So I just pointed to his mask, and we got outside, we started talking. He was like, oh, Trump's the best president ever. And some woman walked past, she goes, bullshit. And I didn't ask her, but I felt like saying, who do you think the best president was? I didn't have to ask because she's going to say Obama because she's not a Republican. She's a liberal, so she'll say Obama.
Yeah.
And when these people still to this day think Obama was the best president, number one, you got to tell them, number one, the biggest red flag with Obama was no school choice.
Yeah.
Now, people need to realize on the left, do you realize that this hatred that these kids have towards the police and authority and all this other stuff, that started under Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's getting exposed right now.
All this internet regulation too that turned all these private companies into free speech halters.
Yep.
Was a result of Obama's internet policy too. I remember back in 2012 when that law passed and everybody's going, oh, it's no big deal.
The Smith and Monk Act.
The internet. It's like, no, you're giving private
regulation.
companies the power of like whether or not what we can say is allowed to go out there. And now we're seeing, gosh, we're 5 years down the road on it now, like not being able to say what we want to say. That's a serious thing, man. And
we're all getting bombed. I got kicked off of Twitter less than 14 hours after joining back in November. It only took 14 hours and 12 tweets to get me my account locked for a week.
Getting back to Obama real quick, with all that stuff, it's bad enough that the hatred towards the police and all this started. What really hurt the most is teaching young children to hate themselves, and you're the problem. That was the worst of it, to hate yourself because of how you were born.
That's what critical race. That's what critical race theory is.
Yeah, and you look at that too, you guys. Another thing, coming back from this trip,
those kids have pride in their country overseas.
You're talking to people in another country, and they absolutely love America.
Yep.
They love Donald Trump. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The regular
world loves
folks,
Donald Trump.
they love America, and they can't understand what we're doing. Like, what's going on?
Well, it's because we're asleep.
You guys have everything. Why are you doing all that stuff? It's like,
so it all goes back to our dollar, right? Taxation. It all goes back to the central banking system, interest rates right now. I'm in the auto industry and I do finance at a dealership, and it's interest rates are 7, 8, 9% on a car, and cars have gone up 20, 30, 40%. Yeah. So you're talking the cost of living for middle class, like you talked about a little while back. The cost of living for middle class has almost doubled, I would say, since 2020. I mean, it's crazy. You go to the store, grocery store now, $100 doesn't even get you anything. You know, maybe some milk and some cereal, and you know.
Yeah,
but
we
it's
have
crazy.
to. I think ultimately, they have to shut this down to make it work. We're the only thing standing in the way. We've always been the only thing standing in the way because nothing is more powerful than freedom. And it plays into all the, the guns and trying to get people's guns and of course they want our guns. Of course they want our guns.
Yeah.
You want
Yeah,
to silence
look,
us?
Yeah, what happened when Mao took all his people's guns? What happened when Hitler took all of his people's guns? What happened when Stalin took all of his people's guns? It
Lenin.
didn't end well for them.
No.
It did not end well for them.
I recently wrote I was so inspired the other day. I wrote a song with my daughter. We were just talking about that, all of everything we're talking about here. And I later in the day, I made this drive through Nashville, through the west side. And I saw this street. And it was like this chain link fence going down the whole side of the street, end to end, and they had flags hanging on the fence. They had a pink one, they had a rainbow one, they had a black one with a fist on it. They had a blue and yellow one. They had a Mexico flag. They had every flag,
but not an American one,
except for one.
Yeah,
right.
I'm telling you, it's just like what I was saying.
It gives them the right to fly those flags.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was taken. I was like, oh my God, this is a great idea for a song. Oh my God, they're flying every color, but the colors that give them the power to fly that thing. If there's no red, white, and blue, there's no other flag that gets to fly.
Yeah.
And then I heard this. I can't remember who it was. It was a country singer. I can't remember who it was, but it was the most fascinating take. He said, hey, man, he goes, you want to talk about the flag? He goes, what is that Marine thing? He goes, Semper Fi. He goes, I ain't no Marine. He goes, that Marine flag's cool, but he goes, I'm not allowed in their club. And I thought he was kind of being kind of a jerk at first, and then I went, oh, I get what he's saying, like he's not allowed to be part of that flag. And then I thought, then he goes, see that Black Lives Matter flag? I don't get to be part of that flag either. You see that gay right flag? I'm not allowed to be a part of that either. See that woman's choice? I'm not allowed to be a part of that either. He goes, but my flag, my red, white, and blue flag, everybody gets to be on my team. Everybody gets, no matter what, even if they hate me, they get to be on that flag.
They get to fly that flag. Amen.
And you know what's sad about these liberals, especially out in Portland, is how they'll sit there and say white people are the problem. It's like, you realize you're white, number one, but they'll sit there and say white supremacy is a problem, but yet they have no problem putting a Black Lives Matter banner on their lawn. Black Lives Matter is literally a black power fist.
So
do you not see the irony in this?
We have a neighborhood here where my studio is, and Nashville has really blown up in the last 10, it's just tripled in size. But there's this neighborhood where I live that's kind of an older neighborhood. My studio's here in this. It's in a house, like a revamped house, and so this area, there was a lot of black people living in this area. It was kind of mixed, kind of 50-50, but a lot of black people in the area. And when the invasion started to come into Nashville, like all this, everybody started moving to Nashville. They started buying out all these people and getting them out of the neighborhood. And then all the black people got bought out of the neighborhood. They tore down all the houses and put up these skinny, really nice little skinny houses.
Oh yeah, yep. They're doing that in Houston
put
too.
In all these cool little shops and stuff. There's no black people anymore, but they've all got Black Lives Matter signs.
Yep. Yeah, we saw one of those in Oklahoma City, a neighborhood like that.
They're all liberals.
Yep. It's crazy.
Starts with the Starbucks.
It's crazy.
Hey,
so this is So we're completely off the cuff today. Let me ask, and this may be asking too much of you, but how about a Hey Hey song of the day today?
Well, I was going to say,
Let's
I got
go.
the song, and
Let's roll. I want to hear it.
If you
I would
guys
love
want me
to.
to wear you out with a song here, it's a brand new song. So it's and I really think it's cool. I think Aaron should sing it. That's just my opinion. But if he won't, I will. I'll put it out there. But anyway, it's the story about driving down that street and seeing all those flags and not seeing any red, white, and blue. And just going, my God, if you don't have red, white, and blue, you can't fly that Black Lives Matter flag. You can't do that in Russia. You can't do that in China.
Nope.
You can't do it in Dubai, and you're not going to do it where I was in Turkmenistan. They'll
Nope.
cut your head off. But you can do it here. And
Amen.
you can burn my flag. If I
not go to
burned your
jail.
Mexico flag, I'll probably get killed.
Yep.
But you can burn my flag as much as you want, and you're still on my team. Because that's what
That's America.
and that's what freedom is, and that's what these globalists hate about us, is that we know that. And we know that as long as we know that freedom is real, we're going to defend it. We don't need a flag. We don't need, you can burn all of our flags. We know what our freedom is, and just come and get us.
Yep. See what
we'll
happens.
take care of ourselves. Anyway, so here's the song.
Amen, brother.
And I was trying to think of a title. And I wrote it with my daughter. We were down in Florida last week after we saw these flags and stuff, and I said, "What should we call it?" I mean, it's obviously about the red, white, and blue, but what should we call it? And everybody's heard that title. She goes, "Let's just call it the flag song." So here's the flag song. You ready? Here we go.
Amen.
Hey there, Star Spangled Banner. What's the matter? I sure been missing seeing you wave. Have you been draped over coffins way too often? Disrespected at too many football games? Have you gone out of style? Hell, it's been a long while since we lifted you up in your old glory days. Was the fight for freedom a bust? Did America just give up when the going got tough? You've been torn down, lit up, spit on, flipped off, dragged through the mud, covered in blood. You've been hated, degraded, shamed and berated, all in the name of all of us. Still you stand behind every flag that ever flew, ridiculed, but that's what you do. You have to. When you're red, white, and blue. When you're red, white, and blue. Well, I've been driving through Nashville, through those green hills, where those battlefields left a few graves. And I've been seeing some people flying some colors, except the colors gave them the freedom to say anything they want, anytime they choose, like Black Lives Matter or LGBTQ. It's a woman's choice, no more girl and boy. But they're forgetting the colors that gave them that voice. You've been torn down, ripped up, spit on, flipped off, dragged through the mud, covered in blood. You've been hated, degraded, shamed and berated, all in the name of all of us. Still you stand behind every flag that ever flew. ridicule, 'cause that's what you do. You have to fold it up in the arms of a widowed bride or a little child only had a dad for a little while. Red, white, blue, yeah. Red, white, blue, red, white, blue, yeah. Red, white, and blue. Oh, red, white, and blue.
Dude,
That's my new
Amazing.
damn song.
love
That was
it.
awesome.
Love it. The chat was blowing up when you were playing it.
Oh,
brother.
yeah.
There
Was
was
it
a lot of
really?
yeah, the chat
Oh,
was
yeah.
blowing up. They said I agree Aaron should be the one to sing this one. Yep, Aaron
He
must
would
sing
kill
it.
it.
Yeah, I agree. That was a great song, brother. Oh.
No.
Red, white, and
Actually,
blue.
everybody in the chat saying, "What a racist song!" No, we're not like that. Because
Oh.
I did a video not too long ago about it was like kind of like a Jason Aldean song and all that, and the guy at the store is like,
Yeah.
obviously liberal, and I'm just poking fun at it. It's like, wait, where did you hear it's racist? Oh, people on TV told me it was racist. It's like that's where they get their information from.
Oh, God.
Try that in the small
Cut the
town.
cord. Cut the cable cord, everybody.
Yeah.
Do your own.
Austin J is up in the house.
What's up, brother? How are you? Cheshire Cat's here as well.
Oh yeah. By the way, Kat said that she lost all her guns in a duck hunting accident. So
All mine fell to the bottom of a very deep lake, so I don't have any either.
But also, dude, this is how you know we're watching a movie because supposedly Australians don't have any guns. When I went out to Missouri, when I was talking to Golden Lady, she was just like, "Let me tell you something. Yes, we are watching a movie." She goes, "I have friends in Australia, and they say we have guns, so don't be fooled."
It depends on what it is. So it's probably like when I lived in Maryland, how it's a little bit tougher to get them sacrificed, and certain people can't get them. It's not like you you go to Texas. I mean, as long as I have an ID and I don't have anything in my background, I could pick up a firearm same day.
Yeah.
Within
15 minutes.
I'm trying to find.
They said it could take up to 4
to
days
finish
for those
this
that
out
don't
at. So we only got a couple minutes left, Jeffrey. Appreciate you being here, brother. Yeah, we got about another 10
Yeah,
minutes.
thanks for having me, you guys. It's a pleasure.
Man,
so
so
glad
glad.
what you guys are doing. I just love it, man. I love that you're putting it out there and keep it up, man. Just keep throwing it in their face, man, every day.
We
I
sure
got a
will.
video.
So there's a couple things. Yeah. So John, we'll let John we don't let John the mod talk very much. He's kind of our
Yeah,
black.
John, I want to hear from you, man. Come on.
He's our black.
I'm
sheep.
here.
We're joking. So John's got a video he's chosen. I don't even know what it is to play us out. But before that, we were talking. I just want to read something, if that's okay, guys, and kind of get your input on this, Jeffrey, if that's okay too.
Sure.
So have you ever wondered what happened to the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence? 5 signers were captured by the British as traitors and tortured before they died. 12 had their homes ransacked and burned. 2 lost their sons in the Revolutionary Army. Another had 2 sons captured. 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds or hardships of the Revolutionary War. They signed and they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. What kind of men were they? 24 were lawyers and jurists. 11 were merchants. 9 were farmers and large plantation owners. Men of means, well educated, but they signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well that the penalty would be death if they were captured. Carter Braxton of Virginia, a wealthy planter and trader, saw his ships swept from the seas by the British Navy. He sold his home and properties to pay for his debts and died in rags. Thomas McKean was so hounded by the British that he was forced to move his family almost constantly. He served in Congress without pay, and his family kept in hiding. His possessions were taken from him, and poverty was his reward. Vandals or soldiers both looted the properties of every Clymer, Hall, Walton, Gwinnett, Hayward, Rutledge, and Middleton. At the Battle of Yorktown, Thomas Nelson Jr. noted that the British General Cornwallis had taken over the Nelson home for his headquarters. The owner quietly urged the General George Washington to open fire. The home was destroyed, and Nelson died bankrupt. Francis Lewis had his home and properties destroyed, the enemy jailed, and the wife, and she died within a few months. John Hart was driven from his wife's bedside as she was dying. Their 13 children fled for their lives. His fields and his grim steel were still laid to waste. For more than a year, he lived in forests and caves, returning home to find his wife dead and his children vanished. A few weeks later, he died from exhaustion and a broken heart. Such were the stories and sacrifices of the American Revolution. These were not wild-eyed, rabble-rousing ruffians. They were soft-spoken men of means and education. They had security, but they valued liberty more, standing tall, straight, and unwavering. They pledged for the support of this declaration, with firm reliance on the protection of the divine providence. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
And then when did we get sold back to England? 1871.
1871. Yeah, and you think about you're just saying Australia a minute ago, which is a British Commonwealth, and
Yep.
just like Canada and South Africa, of course, and a lot of other places in the world. But it's what we were,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And all it took was that stupid little one more tax. I'm kind of generalizing the story here, but that one more tax on the tea, and everybody just went.
Ballistic. Yep. Well,
And
you
it
put
was on, and these guys knew they were going to die once they
Yeah.
signed that thing. They
Yep.
knew that
Yep.
they were marked. They
Yeah.
were marked, man. And
And
I think about all that stuff. I think about that's exactly where we are right now. Everybody looks at you like you have three heads if you say something like that. That hasn't had discussions like we've had, but
Yep.
like it's like no. We are right in that
We're on the
same spot where
bubble.
there weren't that many soldiers fighting with Washington against the British.
3%.
Yeah, and what was it, like 8,000 total people that?
Yep.
That's all there were, and the rest of the people like they weren't paying attention. They're happy to be with the king. They're happy to settle the king's land. But you had those few that were going,
This ain't right. Yep.
we want to be our own kings, and that is what God wants us to be, our own people. We're all created, differently, equal but differently.
Yep. In
And
his
we
image.
celebrate that, and I see this whole washing that we're getting from the left on diversity and all this stuff. I don't want one culture. I don't want the colors to bleed into one. I want a black man and a white man and a green man and a yellow man, and I want everybody. I want amazing food. I want amazing
Yep.
culture and amazing stories and amazing backgrounds. I don't want there to be one song and one kind of music.
Nope.
That's what they're putting it into a funnel, and that's what they want to do with us. They want to get us into one thing around the world, and I say no. I say
Amen.
our diversity is what God wants us to sort out, and whatever racism there really is out there in the world, we've come a long way, y'all. And like I always say, we're the only nation in the history of the world history, that ever fought a war to free its slaves. So when you hear this crap about 16, whatever the hell it is,
1619 project. The
hell?
1619
Shut
project.
up.
Yeah. That's
It's like it's
yeah.
not real, but boy, they have infiltrated our school system. They took over. It's kind of our fault because there's generations of people, the last couple generations kind of lost sight and let the government kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of on us. That's why it's so important that we step up now and rise to the occasion, because there's so many elections that got away. There's so much policy that started to change over the years, but we trusted our government, right? We trusted our government, but now we know better. Now we know that the government was never created to be trusted.
Well,
It
never.
was just created
Right?
to monitor.
We the people. right?
We
That's
the
what
people.
we the people, not the government. And our country is a republic. You know, that's
Yeah.
people. A
I'm
lot of
tired
people
of
get
hearing democracy. I'm tired
yeah, a
of
lot of
hearing
people get it mixed
Oh,
up because
God,
a democracy is completely different than a
Hey,
constitutional
hey,
republic.
you all know what democracy is? Because we know we live in a constitutional republic, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Democracy is two wolves and a sheep at a dinner table deciding what they're going to have for dinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
No,
We can talk about it all you want, but we're going to eat you.
also with this R, I said a while ago, it's just like it doesn't matter if there's an R in front of their name or a D in front of their name. That just gave us the illusion that we had a choice when
Yep.
we really didn't. We thought we did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And,
You know,
and we talked.
like when we talked about it either Sunday or maybe me and Cammy talked about it last night. It's like, you know, when they brought Zuckerberg in front of Congress how many times, and it's just like, oh, they want you to think that they're doing something because they're addressing it, but nothing ever got done from it. Nothing.
It's a show, right? Makeup.
Yeah.
There's a show. Cameras, lights, camera, action. Right. That's
Yeah,
all of
it's
life.
totally
It really
controlled
is.
opposition.
Yep, it's a show, and
Well-
they do it to stay in power, and that's the uniparty.
Yeah.
You know. So, hey, John, if you want to, so how long is your video?
6 minutes.
Do you have one that's shorter?
I do.
I got one that's shorter.
I
let me say
definitely do.
again, you guys, how grateful I am. Thank you for having me, and thank you for putting this out. I just love what you guys are doing. Just keep putting it out there. Keep putting it out there. Keep putting it out there. It's all we can do. We got to keep swinging at it, and
Got it.
whatever this movie is, man, we got to keep
Yeah.
swinging at it.
Thanks for being
and
on.
standing for the truth.
Yeah, we
And by
really
the way-
appreciate you coming here and helping us out and speaking truth
anytime.
and talking about, you know, and hopefully you had a good time coming on. And you're always
Everybody in the
invited.
chat,
Appreciate you
everybody
guys
in
a
the
lot.
chat was like, great guest, great song. So
Yeah, we're pretty
Fans
chill.
over.
We just like to speak truth. That's, you know, it's
Thank you. Cammy
Well, I
even
love
said
it.
hello.
I just love what
so
you're
I
doing.
I was thinking his first video that he put on Rumble.
Mine.
Yeah.
I have an uncut video. But
That's
you
like
sure?
one of my that's one of my favorite ones. Like I play that over and over and over again. I actually made a birthday video out of that video.
Which one is it?
For one of our friends. Who did I make it for? Connie Cat. I made a birthday video backing this song for Miss Connie.
What was the song again? I didn't hear what you said.
Your first song that you put out on Rumble.
Was it Believer? Was it that?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that song, man.
I love that song too. That's one of my favorites.
So you know, I'm trying to rally my guys. I've got this. We've been putting this band together called Government Approved Rockstar.
Yeah, we've been
which
waiting
was
for
in
that.
protest of bands like Rage Against the Machine and Neil Young
Yeah.
and Bruce Springsteen. They're all phonies. They're all complete
Yeah.
phonies.
What?
Complete phonies. And I'll say it to their face, and I'll take them out back if they want to go out back with me. They're all phonies. It's all
They're
about
that
money.
money.
All
Making
about the
people
money.
get vaccinated to go and see their show. Are you kidding me? Is
Yeah.
that Big Brother or is that Big Brother?
How you supposed to be a punk band and you're going to talk about get vaccinated? Comply to the government.
That's like Dave Grohl. I had such respect for him, especially when he was kind of against like the American Idol and stuff like that. He goes, whatever happened to just going to a garage sale, buying a cheap guitar, playing in your garage with your friends and sucking? Whatever happened to, and I had such great respect for him. And then, oh, well, you have to be vaccinated to come to my show. I see. Oh, what happened to your? May he rest in peace. But what happened to your drummer?
And how could you not? How could you not? I know you guys are wrapping this up, but how could
you
you
good?
not see as a counterculturist rock star who was always rock and roll was
Yep.
designed to go against the
For
man,
counterculture. Yep.
right? To go against the man. How could you not see the government coming down on the people and not stay on the side of the people,
And-
being a rock and roller of all things?
Unless
Again,
you're
it's this.
unless you're a part of it. You know, we talked about the CAA. You're probably familiar with them, not the CIA, the CAA.
Yeah.
You know what?
I think
cool
Tori
part-
Tori says did a pretty good video about the CAA and how they're controlled by government and a lot of them are that's their agents to give them the jobs if you know. If
Well,
you know
I can.
Oh, speaking of Scotty, Mrs. Scotty is in the house. Hello, Mrs.
oh hey
Scotty.
Shailene, how are you, girl?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I could do a whole nother show on my journey as an artist through the music business and just exactly what you're talking about, Jeff. I sometimes, one of the reasons why I like feel what Donald Trump has been doing for all these years, one of the reasons why I feel it so much is because in the industry, I have been pushed away from the stuff, the big stuff,
Yeah.
in order to provide stuff for other people. And I don't complain about it at all, but I saw how the game was being played and how, as a younger guy, I was being used and utilized to get more out of the industry than just what I was doing for myself.
Yeah.
And when you start to get older, you start to figure that stuff out and you just go, wow, man. Wow, this thing is just insidious everywhere. People just got to have power and they got to have money. It gets worse and worse and worse. And one thing to say at last about 45 and hopefully 47 is that here's a guy that has so much money and does not need to be putting himself out there on any level. Why waste your time? Why waste your time getting character assassinated for the last 7 years? And maybe even people coming after you.
Almost worse, yeah. It's going back to before when you said you
a
met
love
him.
for our country. Oh, go ahead.
When you said, Mr. President, why are you doing this? And he said, somebody has to. And you said something else. And one of the first things he said when he got to Washington is, nobody told me DC was this broke.
Yep.
It's this broken.
The swamp is wider and deeper than I would have ever thought or anybody else would have ever thought.
But the good news, like, why is he not hanging it up? Why is he not?
Because he loves our
going,
country.
you know what? Okay, they got me. I just got to get out of this thing. Why is he not hanging it up?
Because
it's not his ego.
He's a winner. No, he's a winner.
He's a winner, and he truly loves the country.
He loves the country.
He truly loves the country, and we got people up there that truly hate the country.
Yep.
Truly hate the country.
Infiltrated Marxist McCarthy, McCarthyism and all that stuff really kind of brought a head to that. And communism infiltrated us. Reagan talked about it. The Screen Actors Guild.
And if they didn't infiltrate, it's either MK Ultra or it's like that meme I have with Columbo. It's like, why are pedophiles put in positions of power? Because if they can't be bought, then they can be blackmailed. What do you think Epstein Island is? And just think, there's 5 people above Epstein.
We're gonna have to have you on another time. I'd love to hear about your journey into the music industry and what you experienced and stuff.
Well, there's so many stories, y'all. There's just so many stories, and as it goes on now, from like 2020, it's gotten crazier because I've started to, as you know, I'm in a whole different world now, in a different fight. But just even coming through the business in the beginning, it was always a fight. It was always a struggle, but I just tried to do what I loved, and I loved my country, and I loved my dad's background, and so I wrote all my songs about what I knew and what I loved, and at some point it all lined up for me amazingly. But there's a lot of crazy tales of just a lot of crazy tales. We could go on and on and on and on.
So I'll share it out here shortly, but I started a song. I got a hook now, and I got a melody, so I'm ready to go. It's been a while since I've been able to write one, but I got one now. I was playing
good.
So
all right, we're gonna let him make a choice. That one, or I have a version with you with Ira Dean. Playing
let's do that one.
Country song.
I'll let you guys pick. I'll let you guys.
Is that the one that we watched?
I found that first video. I hadn't seen that thing in years. Crazy.
No, yeah. Well, this one I filmed at back at Mindfest.
So this one, so the quality might not be amazing, but it's okay, John. I don't think it was your new phone. I think it was your old phone.
Well, that's what I was saying also, that when we were there, you were on stage with Ira was spot on. You've been doing it forever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like it was just smooth, right? Completely smooth.
Yeah.
So, all right, John, I'm gonna unmute it now. Sorry, we get an echo when we put a screen on. So, are you ready?
Take me on up to Detroit City. Jails are full and the factory's empty. Mama's crying, young boys down under that red, white, and blue. Still flying. Drop me off in Baltimore, where every other window's got a plywood board, and dreams become drugs and guns, and the only way out is to shoot or run. Stick that in your country song. Take that moment to #1. Get the whole world singing along. Stick that in your country song. Sing like a man coming back from war. 23 going on 54. He lost a friend beside his hand. Got a baby girl you'll never see again. Step down in your country song. Take the life you gotta belong. Get the whole world singing along. Step down in your country song. Shoot that fire up through my soul. Keep my pride, fist up high. Wanna feel the rush, wanna feel alive. Wanna pound the dash, stop the gas, drive too fast. Rock me hard, stop my heart. Blow the speakers right out of this car. Country song. Now give me one about the teacher who's trying to change your life or two. She'll be rocking out all night with you. Tomorrow she'll be back in that red brick school where the kids are climbing off the walls. It's scary walking down the hall. She's underpaid, she's overworked. Come on, shout one out to her. Step down in your country song. Take that one to #1. Get the whole world singing along. Step down in your country song. Step down in your country song. Take that one to #1. I can sing that. Oh, my God. Step down in your country song.
Love it. That was great. That was fun.
That was
we had an
definitely a great
amazing
night.
night.
That was definitely a great night because Steven, you know the shit that I went through all year, and
Yeah.
finally getting to meet Scotty, and it was so cool too because it's like when you meet Scotty, the one who inspired you to start your own channel, and then he knows exactly who you are, and like, hey, I was wondering, like, Jeff, what happened to you? This is that, you know. He goes, I watch your video, and it's just like, especially what I just left Atlanta the day before.
I know. You were in Atlanta the day. So yeah, that was amazing. So dude, great.
Cool. That was a pretty cool how that all worked out, and I was so glad that he showed up. And I got to tell you guys, like I said earlier when we first started talking, when I first saw his stuff, I just saw a light. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then to hear him say that, you know, God's telling him, pointing him to do this, you know, the best way that he knows how to do it. And to hear him say that, and to know that I've been, like, in my life, just like been praying to be put in front of situations and people where I can make a difference with my music, but put me in front of some people that can show me some stuff too. And then all of a sudden Scotty shows up in my life, and so I said, I got to meet this guy.
That's
I got to talk to him. I got to let him know. And I got to let him know what he's doing for so many people, like all of us out there that are just going,
Amen.
There's hope, you know, like there's hope in in a really man, this is a weird time. It's just the weirdest.
Weirdest
I
time.
gotta tell you guys, it's the weirdest time in history, I think, ever.
Yeah.
And
Scotty
Scotty-
was, when I was talking to Scotty, he was saying, because it was right when he stopped making videos and started making them again. And then he was like, Aaron Lewis said, Scotty, you got to keep making videos. And it's just like, how cool is that Aaron Lewis is telling you got to make videos? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then he
It's
came
like,
back. We were pretty sad and disappointed when Scotty left for that.
Oh,
short period
I
of
told
time.
Andrew, I said, a guy like him cannot walk away. I said, he'll be back. And
It's
he was
fifth
back
generation.
a lot sooner.
It's truly fifth generation warfare. That's truly what we're doing. We're fighting. It's the war of the minds, and the mind is the soul. The soul is the battlefield. That's where we're at. The spirit is the heart, and the heart is love, and love is you can love each other and love even the enemy, even thy enemy, right? So I say that just because I don't like you doesn't mean I don't love you. You know what I mean? So love is different. Love it, and that's what he says. That's what our Heavenly Father says is love needs to be unconditional, right? And love thy neighbor.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean you got to like them. Just remember that, everybody.
Well,
That's
again,
right.
going back to Trump's November 15th speech when everybody was disappointed. Oh, I thought he had big news. He's only announcing that he's running. It's just like there's hidden messages, number one. I've talked about them. But if you really listen to the underlying message that Trump was trying to say on November 15th is he's trying to get both sides to work together. Did you see? I don't think you can find the video anymore. I've tried looking, but when Trump was at the Atlanta Braves game, when that "Let's Go Brandon, fuck Joe Biden" stuff first started happening, all of Atlanta Stadium was saying "F Joe Biden." Did you see Trump? He almost started clapping, but then he had to do like this.
Yep. I saw that.
But the look on his face is like they're finally waking up.
All right, hey
And it
John.
was so because look at the attacks that he's been.
Oh, look at that
the
hat.
assassination attempts
I
that
love
he's
it.
had on.
Oh,
And
that's
it's finally starting
awesome.
to see
That is
people,
amazing.
it's finally starting to see people come together.
I love
And
it.
that's what it comes down to is Obama's brilliance, if you want to call it that. One nation under God, indivisible. That's our motto,
Yep.
And he knew. He goes, we got to divide them. We got to
Yep.
divide them. And he's done it. I mean, they've done it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing is that we're pitted now against the left, and it's all right and left. And that's another thing I think is cool about this whole Oliver Anthony thing. It's so right down the pipe.
Yep.
It's hitting everybody in the middle. It doesn't really pay attention like we do to what's going on.
Yep.
And that's what we need. We need people to know that we love them. We don't agree with them, and you're not going to tell us, to believe in you wanting to chop your penis off,
Yep.
or whatever that is, or to become,
Put a mask on.
pro-choice. Sorry, but we love you. But we got to come together on being able to be back in the bar room again, and be able to have that conversation where I'm calling you a knucklehead and you're calling me a knucklehead, but you buy my beer and we keep talking about politics, but we don't agree on it. But we know that ultimately it's how the American people get treated. We're losing that. We're losing the American people. We're losing, and I say that, I just say that generally, but we're losing that belief in being American. And I think that's what's so big about that song right now is he's saying that we're all getting killed out here.
Yep.
We don't have a middle class anymore. And it's not because of Trump and it's not because of Biden. It's because of those other guys up there that are stirring this thing.
It's the three-letter agencies, the bureaucrats, those that are in government that can only get fatter because, and I think even I don't know if it was Washington or might have been one of them said early on that the bureaucrats are what's going to destroy the country. Unelected officials, right? That have lifetime appointments that don't have to worry about anything, and they just take the money and they need more taxation.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. I was just gonna say it causes more inflation.
Well, another thing that
They were on shaky ground. They knew they were on shaky ground when they mentioned the word government. When they said we're going to create a government, they knew that it was immediately going to be corruption. and the people had to monitor it. And that's what we've lost in our country. The regular people are not monitoring their country. It's our country.
It's because they're trying to survive.
Sorry, Jeff, I didn't mean to.
No, that's all good.
It's because they're trying to
Another-
survive. They can't
Another
afford.
part of another part of the plan under Obama with the 16-year plan with him and Hillary, Obama's part of his job too was also depleting the military. Also he closed Gitmo.
Yep.
But
Yep.
look at that big upgrade that Gitmo got since Trump. So don't think that he didn't plan on using that. He didn't bring back the firing squad, the gas chamber. A lot of people don't know that he brought the gas chamber back too.
Yeah.
But he didn't do all
And
that
you know,
to use it.
the other topic that nobody of course is talking about anymore, the whole deal with Epstein, and it's just so gone now. It's just gone.
And
All
it can't.
the
It
stuff- all
shouldn't
the
be.
Crazy stuff, and I'm just throwing out real quick that people are like, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? Like well, we got to move on from that stuff. It's like, no, man.
It's a huge deal.
This
You
is
really
why
gotta
we're
pay
at
attention.
where we're at right now, because I think it's all centered around. It's all going to go back to that eventually. And I might have told you this. Not a guitar player. It's the best screen name of all time. I got
Thanks. Appreciate that one.
Can I just call you Not?
No, they call me Noda.
No,
Noda.
that's right.
Yeah,
No. Oh, that's right. But back in, and I can't remember if I told you about this before or not, but like back in 2004 or 5, I got hired with a couple other songwriters. Like I said, I get these crazy gigs all the time because I'm not like a mainstream guy,
Yeah.
but I have all these hit songs that people recognize, so I can go into these situations. You know what I mean? Like where they need somebody to come in and entertain, and it's got to be good and all that. And so I get called to go do this gig with 3 of my buddies. A couple guys have written a bunch of stuff for Toby Keith over the years. Chuck Cannon was one of them, and he's a guy you should get on here. He'd be a great conversation. And anyway, where's the gig? So where's the gig at? Oh, it's in the Bahamas. Where are we going? Well, we're going to this private island somewhere. And this is in 2005, y'all.
Jeez.
So we're like, wow, let's go. I mean, we're songwriters. Like, let's go, buddy. Come on, like, let's get on the plane. We're getting a free trip to the Bahamas for the next 5-6 days. So we get to this private island, and it's Peter Nygaard's island. Y'all know who Peter Nygaard is?
Oh
Yeah.
He's probably more
Because he's Canadian, right? He's Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian fashion designer.
Who has his own island too.
Yeah, and that's where we were, and it was just like the Epstein place. It had all these Aztec temple recreations on it, and
That's
it was
crazy.
complete debauchery. There were all these young girls running around the island, and there were pictures of a lot of people we know in the front office, from Kevin Spacey to George Bush Sr. This is 2005, so and all the rooms are tiki huts, and we're just kind of looking around, going, "What is this place? Like, what is?" And then we find out, my buddy calls me up. He goes, "Hey, is there a camera by your hot tub?" There were hot tubs in the room. It was like really fancy place, but it was all kind of like tiki huts. And he goes, "Is there a camera near your hot tub?" And I go, "What?" And so I go over and look. I go, "Yes." He goes, "Look over your bed." And there was a camera over the bed. And then when we went to play the gig, there was like a disco where we played the gig. There were just a couple songwriters singing on chairs and telling stories. There were cameras down on this glass floor. Cameras coming up so they could get under skirt of the girls. And we're just going, what is this place? And this, again, 2005, we don't know. And so all these years go by, we would always tell people about this crazy gig that we did in the Bahamas for this really weird guy. Yeah. And then we hear about Epstein getting arrested and Epstein's Island. And we're like, wait a minute. Remember that guy Nygaard that we played his show? And then about a year later, Nygaard gets arrested.
Nygaard gets busted. Yep.
And we're like, oh Jesus, that's the guy. And so anybody out there, like everybody on here, everybody we're talking to on Rumble, they know what's going on. But anybody out there in the world that's going, this stuff's not real, buddy.
It's been going on for a long time.
It's real.
Yeah.
It is so real. It's beyond belief.
And that's really before cell phones were kind of really big, so you could probably have your cell phone. Plus, they weren't really like the phones we have today, but like
Yeah,
with
you
like
could video and
Epstein Island,
everything.
totally
You could
none of those
pictures.
people were allowed to have their phones.
Yeah. And so all these years later, you just kind of go, wow, man. And then, and again, as a kind of behind the scenes guy, I get hired a lot to play these things as a musician. I'm a bass player and a guitar player and all that. So I got hired to play in this band at the Bohemian Grove.
Oh,
And so I went there like 4 or 5 years in a row with these musician buddies of mine. And you're just kind of going, what is this?
See, at least you knew something was wrong. At least you knew.
There's 2,000 guys here, all guys, no girls allowed. And they're all really rich. And there's guys from Fox, and I'm seeing guys from MSNBC and CNN. And there's Clinton and there's Bush. What is going on here? What is going on here? And that's another conversation. But you get in these war zones, like I like to call them, and as a guy who's just kind of like wanting to get information, I'm just kind of, because we all saw Alex Jones try to bust in there all those years ago,
Yeah.
and talking about all the rituals and everything. Oh, that shit's not real. It's not real. And you're there and you're going, okay, well, there's the owl and there's the statue and there's the lake.
Yeah.
Now nobody gets to come during that part of the year.
Yeah. Well,
They only get to go there in July when the guests get to go.
Yeah, that's like Todd that was here before. He put out a video. Now, it wasn't his regular standard video. He does meme videos. They're all funny, but he put out a really good video, and he found actual footage on YouTube of Bohemian Grove right before they did their sacrifice. And it's like, because we had him on the show right after he put that video out, and I said, where did you find that Bohemian Grove clip? He goes, I found it on YouTube. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And if they catch you with a camera in that place, you immediately get thrown out into the street, literally thrown into the
I'm
street.
surprised you don't get worse than that.
Yeah.
Epstein, or you get Clintonized or Epstein.
Yeah.
And I can't speak to having seen anything that was weird, but you know how when you're somewhere and it's weird and you just kind of feel like it's weird?
Yep.
It's the same way we felt when we were on that island. It just felt weird.
I was just going to say, thank you for bringing up
experience.
Peter Nygard, because a lot of people don't know that name.
And they don't know. And he's bigger.
He's bigger than Epstein. Yep.
Yeah.
They're saying that his thing goes even crazier. And those are just two guys. Those aren't the only two guys. They're everywhere.
What is it? The Getty Museum, John, that I had you look up that one time? That's even way worse than Epstein Island. The Getty Museum or something like that.
And then think about, what's the number I heard of? I may be way off on the number, but like a multi-billion-dollar industry, child trafficking and pornography. And it's centered around the U.S. and the Ukraine, and we just happen to be over there fighting a war
and giving them billions
of
dollars.
There's so much stuff that's just not adding up to me, and I'm not any genius, but I've seen a lot of stuff and I'm around a lot of stuff, and I just have to step back sometimes and just go, what is happening? What is happening?
It's all being exposed right now because it needs to be. That's the only way that you get rid of it.
You gotta believe it is. I can't believe. I mean, you guys can imagine a year from now when this election comes up. Can you imagine what the world's going to be like in a year? I mean, look at what's happened.
Look at what's happened last year.
Crazy. This next year is going to be.
And COVID's coming out again, and masks are coming out again, and all that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some stuff the likes of which we've never seen before. I just can't see it going any other way than crazy because Trump is bringing the truth, and there's people bringing the truth, and. Like I said, if they have to bash the truth, they'll drop nuclear bombs on the truth before they'll tell it. And, I'm not afraid. I'm sticking with Jesus and
stay prayed up.
I'm not afraid of any of it. But I would sure love if we could catch these guys and
the evil
justice.
General McInerney said that. He said basically, they poison your food, they poison your medicine, they poison your water. When all else fails, they'll nuke their own country. Meaning,
I believe it.
Uranium one.
Evil.
I believe it. I mean, if you
Spiritual
look
warfare and evil.
Yeah, and everybody says, "Oh, conspiracy theory," but how many of these things gotta prove themselves true before you start going, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
I mean, every one of them is coming true, and
Yep.
and just the mere fact that they're still going after Trump, they're still going after him, after all this time.
They've had it all. They've already investigated him how many times,
Yeah.
and he's come clean.
Even if he's the most guilty guy that ever walked the face of the earth,
They didn't find anything. Yeah, you'd
still
think they
can't
would.
catch him. And you got to look at that and go, okay, there's
Something's
something
up.
that we're not.
Yeah.
There's something going on here. I mean, we all know it. We all know, but we're like, none of us can like put our finger on the button. We're
Yeah.
like, it just doesn't add up. And like Trump, okay, 200, 500 years from now, people are going to remember his name.
Yep.
He's going to become folklore. Because
One of the greatest presidents to ever.
You know what? When that day comes, he'll be on Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, and Pelosi, Comey, Brennan, all these other people shift that are trying to make they're going to be forgotten. They're going to be forgotten. They're all going to be completely forgotten. But everybody's going to remember Trump, even the people that
getting back to Pelosi, and I always wanted to. Trump never reads from a piece of paper or a speech. What did he give Nancy Pelosi that made her rip it up?
I know.
Only makes you wonder. Maybe that was because we all know about the letters at Poppy Bush's funeral.
Oh yeah, Bush's letters.
Jimmy Carter and Trump were the only presidents not to get one.
Yeah.
What was Nancy Pelosi? What was on that? That could have been her resignation from the Planet Leather. He never talks from a speech ever.
It's interesting, but you're right. That's the one thing when we saw him last week, I was like, this guy. How old is he now? He's 70.
74, 73, 74.
No, he's old.
And he's up there, just winging it. He's got no notes. He's got no papers. He doesn't need them because he knows he's talking to the people, and he talks to the people, and that's the one thing those people cannot do.
Yep.
They don't have the
off
buzz.
the cuff.
Yeah, they can't just be real. They can't be real. They have to have a facade around them all the time, and therein lies the difference in the American people. Eventually, the American people will see that. Just like they saw Brandon on the racetrack that day.
Yep. Yep.
There's the shirt. We all knew it wasn't. Let's go, Brandon. All of America went. That's not what they're saying.
Nope.
And then the same thing happened with this Jason Aldean song. It happened with the Aaron Lewis song. And it's happening with Oliver Anthony. At some point, the American people get it. And they go, wait a minute. What's going on? And I think it's getting bigger now than ever. We're seeing more people snapping out of it and realizing that they're being bamboozled.
And I talked about on the last show, we're going into exponential growth with awakening, right? You hit critical mass, which is 10%, and then it just like skyrockets, and that's what we're going to have is a lot of people waking right now. So we need to be
it's
for them.
It's no mistake that the Great Awakening happened in 2020. Again, what's hindsight? 2020. It's just there's no coincidences.
Yeah, I don't think there's
no coincidences.
So. Anyways,
well, I've definitely held you guys way over.
Yeah, you're good. I got to go get dinner for the babies.
Yeah,
so Jeffrey,
all night long.
we'll definitely get together again, brother. Thank you so much for joining us, man. I had such a good time.
Yes,
thank you for playing the Hey Hey song of the day too. Your new song was amazing. So, and we're gonna we're gonna keep going and keep doing what we do. But John, do you want to take us out?
Sure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Oh, and don't forget to check out the merch store. Maybe working on some new clothes.
Support these guys, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Actually,
anyway, we may get a Jeffrey Steele T-shirt out there too soon.
Come on, man.
Love y'all. Take care.
Hey, with Jeffrey's permission, I'll think of something. But real quick before we go, I just want to give a couple shout outs.
Go ahead.
Steven, you being one of them.
Thanks, brother.
Bev, Mighty Mouse Bev, one half of Shark Bite Radio, but I'm sure Starfire was behind it too. But and Bug reached out to me today to make sure I was safe because I'm in Florida and we were supposed to get a really bad, hurricane and all that, or tropical storm. But where I am, we just got a little bit of, we got some rain and some wind, but nothing like life threatening. So I just want to give a shout out to Steven, Bev, and Bug for reaching out saying, "Hey, are you safe?" So that was cool.
Brother, we're connected, interconnected spiritually, you and I, with everything that's gone on between
Absolutely.
us. So, but anyways, yeah. So we love y'all guys. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Thank you again, brother. And,
Absolute honor, y'all. Good night.
I'm
gonna spoil a little bit before you hit that button. Tell me what y'all think about this.
Oh, jeez. Love it. All right, y'all. With that, we're out.
See ya.
See you. All right. So